We're floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. Welcome to the Wingmen Show. I'm Drew Brown. We're here to inspire, entertain, and learn so we can all grow. Happiness and serenity are the keys. To you, my friend, my wingman, my main man, I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Paul Thompson. Hey, Paul.
Good morning, Mr. Drew. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just heard from the one and only Drew Brown, Dark Gable, the American dream. He's the man, the myth, the legend. He's the pilot's pilot, the role model's role model, and most importantly, his royal fullness. Thank you for listening to the podcast, looking at the podcast. And if you could, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. We would appreciate it. I'm doing very good this morning, Mr. Drew. How are you?
I'm doing great. You ready to start this show?
I'm ready.
All right, well, check this out. We have a new little segment here at the Wingman Show. It's called Dr. Paul's Book Club. And the reason we're just going to put this little mini segment in is because reading is so important. And the one thing it does that I love is anybody who reads a book, you're the only person who sees that book the same way. Nobody else will ever see that book the way you see it. Like when I read James Patterson, I thought of my Alex Cross as my Alex Cross. When Morgan Freeman played him, it messed my image up because no matter what you read, that's your own movie. I really appreciate reading. My mother made me read early. It is one of the top 10 reasons that I'm successful is because of my ability to read and read well. So we're going to promote reading. Dr. Paul wanted everybody to read this book. So what would that book be, Dr. Paul?
Oh, Mr. Drew. Yeah, here's a nice book. I think everyone will enjoy it. It's not like James Patterson. It's a lot shorter. I did it in one sitting. It's called Make Your Bed by Admiral William McRaven, retired Navy SEAL. In fact, he was the head of SOCOM, Special Ops Forces for the United States. I'd say it's about a third of an inch thick, a third of an inch thick. It's not maybe a quarter of an inch thick. Do it in one sitting, but it's very short and sweet. It's small. It's got a lot of nice rules for the road for everybody, particularly for young people, particularly young men and women, or really anyone. It's a nice collection of stories about his life, challenges he's faced, and how to overcome them, even when it seems impossible. It's a book that I would call, never give up. And it's very pleasant. It doesn't have a lot of gory stories in it, but it's taken from a commencement speech he gave because after he left the military, he actually became the chancellor of the University of Texas. You know the University of Texas.
Oh, yeah. Love that. Okay. Love those Longhorns. Hook 'em horns, hook 'em.
Yeah. So I don't know if he's still doing that now, but he gave this during a commencement address, and they turned it into a book. It's a nice little book. Again, Make Your Bed by Admiral William McRaven. It's been out for, I guess, 2 or 3 years. You'll like it.
That's right. That's right from Dr. Paul's Book Club. And we're not getting paid a dime for that.
So, yeah, right. I don't get a penny. I have no association with him. It'd be not great to talk to him, but I do recommend his book.
And you think people will be better off when they read it?
I think they will. And it's important, as Mr. Drew said, it's important to read. Reading is fundamental. If you can't read properly, you can hang it up.
You can hang it up.
That's just reality.
Okay, how about this one? How about this vaccine? What is going on with the Delta variant and these people, and I don't want to put names on them, but these people who don't believe in science, or maybe they're so scientific they have found a reason why they shouldn't be protected from this thing called COVID-19 Delta variant. In other words, death. Yes. So here's the thing. Some people say to hell with it. Let's thin out the gene pool. Let all these idiots, I'm not saying that, but some people say, let all these idiots die and we'll be okay. But in reality, that's not true, because if people start going to the hospital, they're not going to all die. When people start going to the hospital, for no reason, they put a strain on this healthcare system that already has a strain on it. It's almost like, I can imagine some of the healthcare workers going, are you serious? We told you to get this and you're going to put us through this. So what do you think, Dr. Paul, about this? Because it's getting ridiculous already. I mean, they're young people too, Paul. Yes. Young people are dying. Yes. I mean, I don't know how else to say this. This is called really rational thinking, critical thinking. Get the vaccine now, please, if you want to live.
Right. I'm one. I don't care for shots myself. I don't really like shots, but I get them. I don't want to get them. If there are natural things to do the same thing, I'm for doing the natural stuff if possible. But in this case, it didn't seem like something to fool around with at all. As a side note, I do have one personal friend who lost 2 relatives to COVID, not 1, but 2, just in the last year. Two of his brothers. I don't know their situation, but he's 2. I mean, this is actual. It's not made up. It's not fantasy. It's not a conspiracy theory. It happened. Somebody I've known for 45 years. In any case, the variant is bad. There'll probably be other variants. You're kind of correct. You can look at things. You could look at it as expressing compassion, encouraging people to get vaccinated, or saying the heck with them. Now, we all know our good friend, the Ayatollah. He's that type that says, get rid of them, and anything that gets them off the earth and cleanses the gene pool, I'm all for it. He thinks Attila the Hun was kind of soft, that kind of thing. That's a little excessive, but you owe it to yourself and your family to protect yourself, to be around, let alone contaminate other people. But your family probably needs you. Someone likes you. So if you're abstaining because of some political stuff or somebody said something, you got to be sensible. I like the James Bond pictures. I like the Bruce Lee movies and all that stuff. But I'm not Bruce Lee. I'm not James Bond, and I'm not an actor. That's acting. That's fake stuff. That's in front of the camera. That's with stuntmen. That's with doing it 200 times so it looks real. That's with editing. This is real. People are dying. That's what my doctor told me. I went in, last time, 6 months ago. So 6 months ago, and I said, okay, what do I need to do? I said, I need a flu shot, COVID shot, shingle shot. I never had the shingle shot and all that stuff. He said, look, do the flu and do the COVID. Nobody ever died of shingles. You may want to die if you get it, but nobody ever died of shingles. He said it straight up. And he's not, he's not a hypochondriac. He's a straight up guy. See, that's what I did. I think it gives you your best chance. So if you're just, on the fence, should I get it? Should I not get it? I've had mine for a while. My wife's had it. I'm no crazier now than I was before. If there's some after effects, I don't know what they are.
It seems like it made you smarter and better looking, Paul.
I think so. Whatever, anything that would help.
Let me say this, though, for the people, I do want to talk about the people who are not getting it. The truth is they're getting bad information. And if you get bad information, you have bad knowledge. And it's not really there. I don't want to blame it on them, but if there's only one news source or only one source of information, one place you go to the internet for your information, you're getting bad information. Next segment, Paulie baby, is I'm going to name it the Jerry Springer segment. You know why?
Okay. Why?
Because no matter how bad your life is, after you listen to what we're going to talk about now, your life will seem a lot better. How about the shooting at the Oasis? Remember the shooting at the OK Corral?
The Oasis.
Yeah, I read about the OK or Oasis Hotel in Cincinnati. A 16 and a 19-year-old argued, pulled out guns, shot each other, and they both died right there. Okay? And if that's not bad enough, New York has just declared a state of an emergency because of gun violence. And this wonderful happy 4th of July that you came over to the house, we had a great time. We had a great pool party, and you bought the best cake I've ever tasted in my life. And Katrina said it too. And the guests really, oh my God, it was like really crack cake. That's
I heard you guys were eating the cardboard that the cake came on.
No kidding.
Their teeth marks in the
$30 cake. I haven't ever seen anything like that. That's crazy.
Most expensive cake.
Yeah, but you know what? We had a New Yorker here, and she was like, yeah, that's about what they cost. Anyway, that cake was great. But during our fun and sun and really enjoying ourselves, this weekend, 618 people were shot and 230 people are dead. There has to be something done about guns in this country. And we deserve the government we get if we continue to vote for politicians who are not going to put their foot down and say that we have a gun problem. I'm for guns. Paul has guns. There's nobody saying we shouldn't have guns, but we need to clean up this problem. An illegal gun should have serious consequences. To register a gun, you should pass certain tests that means you're mentally capable of owning a firearm, just like they do a car. It's a murder weapon. A car is a murder weapon in the wrong hands. So we need to do something about this, Dr. Paul. What is your opinion?
Well, that's a tough one. I've been hearing this about illegal guns in New York from the 70s. And it doesn't seem, it may not be the problem. And I'll quote the Ayatollah. It's not so much guns. He will say it's crazy mismanagement. You've got a lot of unstable people now. I notice when I'm on the roads, it seems people are driving more aggressively just in the last couple months. It's crazier, and people are crazier. And around where we live, they're shooting folks on the road periodically, whether they know
move.
You're too slow, you're too fast or something. They just shoot. So the thing is, you just let them go. I see them drive crazy, let them go. Don't go beeping your horn too much. People are on the hair trigger. I thought it was just me with that feeling. I talked to some other friends, and now there's a little different feel in the air, and the friends are in different places. I
don't mean to interrupt you, but can you tell them the story about your friend, your doctor in Memphis?
Oh yeah, this is more than 30 years ago, getting close to 40 years ago. But this is where the mentality of people factors into everything. And he said he was a young resident, and he's doing the gunshots on the weekend. The emergency, the gunshots, the stabbings, and all that stuff on a Friday or Saturday night. And he talked about two guys being rolled in. They're both on gurneys. They were strapped down. And they had hurt each other somehow. I don't know if they were shot or not, probably so. I don't know what it was. But they're cursing each other, and one was on one side of the passageway, the other's on the other side. They're separated by, like 10 feet. And they're just cursing each other, talk about they were going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. And they're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He was doing this stuff. He said by the time before we could get to them, they both died. And they both got their wish. They lived in a culture of death. And they died as they lived, apparently. I always remember him saying that. I guess it affected him and became noted. But I look at people now, particularly young people, who have so much to live for, killing themselves and killing other people. We talked about that shooting in Cincinnati, which you didn't add in, was there was in addition to killing each other, they shot a bunch of other people. These are not typically trained marksmen who've gone through a Marine Corps sniper school. These are just, if I shouldn't say this, but the safest place might be, if they aim at you, because they miss a lot of times.
Isn't that a trip?
That's crazy. You have to, trigger control, sight control. There's a certain amount of discipline. There's that word, that D word, certain amount of discipline that's required in everything. Even to be an accurate criminal, you have to have accurate aim.
Paul, you mean you've been through gun training. I've been through gun training. You mean you don't hold it to the side like they do in the movies?
Hard 90 degrees.
Right. And then, lean out of a car, bam, 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 or roll around like they did in Lethal Weapon. You don't do that and hit the car.
And jump in the air with two firing. That's a pretty good trick,
Yes.
My cat could probably do something like that. Though, I'll be honest with you, there are some training things, some Eastern European things where they actually kind of do that kind of stuff and they fall off platforms and roll with it. Advanced bodyguard thing. So I guess there's some of that that's applicable, but to the average person, probably not. You're probably going to hurt yourself.
No doubt about it.
And shoot someone else. But the thing is, look at Chicago. Here we talk about Chicago. Chicago is a metaphor for a lot of things, but apparently there's at least one or more aldermen who are requesting that the National Guard actually come in. As I recall, the last president suggested that, like 2017, got a lot of flack. Now they're saying it's so bad that, well, maybe that's not a bad idea. Same people who oppose that. That's recent. That's as of a day or two ago.
Wow.
So,
did you hear about the Haitian president getting assassinated?
Yes.
And they shot his wife. She's in Miami in surgery, or actually at the hospital recovering. I don't know how she is.
Yeah. I saw they said they captured six people. They killed 4 people. And there's 2 others that are detained. There was like 6 attackers or whatever. Suppose they said they were speaking Spanish. Don't know if that's true. So that might implicate the Dominican Republic or some other place.
That's what they're saying. How about Afghanistan? We're pulling out of Afghanistan. And I just saw a story that says we're leaving this huge base, this huge airfield, and we haven't left any electrical power on. They don't know how to turn on the power. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of new vehicles. They said they're all white. I saw the pictures of them that are being left there. And we've just abandoned these people. The problem is, I'm not talking politically. I will tell you this. We've abandoned the translators who worked on our side, who tried to help these people, who tried to help us translating the language and actually helped us. And we started leaving them, and we're not allowing them to come to America. So their fate is definitely not only death, but torture, and probably death to them and their families. We've done that before. There's something that comes out of this that's real important to me, because when you're in the military, like you and I were, our word is everything. When I tell you I'm going to do something, Paul, I'm going to do it. There's a book I love called The 4 Agreements. Maybe we'll do it in the next book club. But one of the 4 agreements are make your word impeccable. And it just seems to me when you're fighting next to somebody from another country and you're helping them, and one day you turn around and say, oops, sorry, gotta go. There's something about that just doesn't sit right with me. And the other 4 agreements is always do your best, don't take anything personal, and don't assume anything. But Afghanistan, what do you think about that, Commander Paul Thompson?
Well, that's a mess. That's an unfortunate mess. I saw the story about the translators who were left there who assisted, and they're trying to get somewhere, getting out of Pakistan or getting out of Afghanistan, trying to go somewhere else, working on paperwork, and it's difficult. I think the president's supposed to say something about that, because basically if they don't get out, they're toast. And the fact is, there's a lot of equipment left, and that's to be expected. But I saw them, driving, parading the vehicles. It's kind of like, Oprah's giving everybody, you get a Humvee, and they got all kinds of, great weapons. They have lots of them. And the big thing about Afghanistan, it's not just Afghanistan. It's that whole region. I think in, Tajikistan? Yeah, Tajikistan, which is nearby. They've got troops on the border, not to go into Afghanistan, but to just guard their border. And the Russians said that they'll help those other powers that are near Afghanistan, because there's an alliance between, I guess, Afghanistan and Pakistan has weapons. And they think that, weapons will flow into Afghanistan because of Pakistan. Also, another power that is concerned is India. India is just 2 countries away. When I used to fly into India, to New Delhi, a lot of times I flew over Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and descend into Delhi. So India is concerned. There are a lot of Indian citizens working in Afghanistan. They're trying to get them out because it's just basically unsafe. And because India and Pakistan have their issues, so to speak, if they align with Afghanistan, now the Indians are concerned that more terrorism, will filter in there, ISIS and all that other stuff, what to do. In addition, I think Pakistan is trying to establish relations with Turkey and to get advanced weapons, attack drones. They've used them. They have drones. So I was worried that the Taliban may get some of this more high-tech weaponry. And, just from India, India's concerned. So it's a big mess. Russia's to the north. It's unfortunate. So, we're in there. We'll probably be there forever. They say they're keeping troops there to keep the embassy open and keep the airport open in Kabul, because if that shuts down, there's no way in or out of it for U.S. people. So I don't know what the solution is. You spend $1 trillion. You've been there 20 years. And if you're going to be there another 20 years, you probably have the same result. So
that's a bad situation over there. And it doesn't seem like there's any answer right now. How about an answer for this one, Dr. Paul? Sha'carri. You heard of Sha'carri?
Yes, the
fastest woman in the world.
Yes.
They're not going to allow her to run in the Olympics. She tested positive for marijuana. She was suspended for 30 days. The suspension is over, and she could run in the 4x100 meter relay, and they're not going to let her run because of the marijuana. Portland is where she's from, and marijuana is legal there, first of all. 500,000 signatures were written on a petition to let her run. Michael Phelps was also dealing with marijuana. I got to just tell you the truth here. There's a serious problem that people are not recognizing in sports. They're so fast. They're so big. There's something called injuries. And the injuries cause pain. And anybody who hasn't been in pain may not understand this. But when you're in pain, you'll damn near do anything to get out of pain. And the usual go-to is Oxycontin, oxycodone, or opioids, which is heroin. Just say heroin. That's the go-to and has been in sports for a long time. You can actually take so much that you can go back and play. Like they used to shoot up knees and elbows. I don't know if you remember this, and just numb them. So the athlete could go back in there and play, and they would just rip up their knee, but they couldn't feel it, so they could continue to play. Well, opioids and a lot of NFL football players have fell to the addiction of opioid addiction. And as you know, it's a really bad problem. And anybody who has that problem, there is help out there. There is help out there. Matter of fact, I'm going to put an 800 number on the screen for anybody who does have a drug and alcohol problem. But getting back to the marijuana, I'll tell you what, it's amazing. You know who's fighting against marijuana being legal? It's the liquor industry. And I guarantee you one thing. I don't know what Olympics are thinking about, but weed does not make you run faster. If anything, you might not want to practice today.
Right.
Okay. Right. Alcohol, on the other hand, will make you want to kill somebody. Tell the truth. That's the truth of it. Marijuana comes out of the ground. It has been used for medicine for thousands of years. It is legal in America in certain areas. Okay, that's just the way it is. You know, there was a time when alcohol wasn't illegal, and you were the worst person in the world if you drank. And now you can't even drink on Sundays. Like you're almost okay. Mm-hmm. It's weird, but anyway, I think that is dead wrong what they're doing with her.
Yeah. I guess to leave her off all the way, okay, is a mistake. I also wonder, though, if you're an Olympic athlete, you can get tested anytime. I'm just wondering why she do that, because you'd be tested. I think they can test you 365 days a year. No,
let me put this part of the story, and this is not an excuse. Okay, if I was the fastest person in the world, I wouldn't do anything that would get me eliminated. We're not making an excuse here, and I'm not giving her okay to do this, but her mother just died. I mean, that's part of the story, just died. I'm only throwing that in there because That's what was part of the story. Once again, no excuse. Smoking weed doesn't make your mother's death any better. If anything, it probably makes it worse. I know drinking makes it worse. So I'm not giving you an excuse, but I'm just giving you more to the story. I'm sorry for cutting you off, Dr. Paul.
No, I think it was an obvious judgment error, but because they can be tested any day of the year, anytime, no notice. They also have to give notice of their whereabouts. I don't know if it's forever. I guess maybe while you're competing. The Michael Phelps thing, I read about that. Now he had a picture taken. He was smoking on a bong or whatever that stuff is. I don't even understand how it works.
Right. But he was never tested negative. He never tested positive. I'm sorry.
Right. He never tested positive. Yeah. This was like afterwards. It was like after his competition. So he's chilling at home.
All the haters in the world start looking for pictures of him now.
Right. Yeah. But he was not in the competitive realm, so to speak. She is. I guess she's 21. So I guess she can run, next year? Because they have the finals, the next Olympics, which will be 3 years.
She can do it. And she said she's motivated to even do better.
Right. Yeah. Right. Because the next Olympics is going to be on time. They're going to go from 21 to 24. It'll be a 3-year gap. So
really?
Yeah. That's what I read. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Keeping it 4-year intervals, 2024. So we'll see.
All right, we'll see. I'm going to throw something on you that you didn't expect. Give me, because you're such a great aviator, Navy jet pilot, captain of an airline, 777. Give me a quick story of your scariest moment in an airplane or in a jet.
I'd say one time we had a fire on board, which was not good. Unexpected fire on board. I was the first officer at the time going to Connecticut, Bradley International, leveled off, dark night, tired, very tired. Cab said, "You smell something?" I said, "No." At that time, I had a little bit of a cold. My sense of smell is not good. And he asked the second officer, "You smell something?" I said, "I'm not sure." And he just said, "Hey, open the door and just take a look." He opened the cockpit door, smoke billowed in. I said, "Wow, this is not good. Let's land." Where do we land? Basically, we were over West Virginia and started descent. Things got a little bit chaotic, and that the first officer I was first officer, the captain and the flight engineer were working through smoke control procedures, which is interesting because we were kind of like test pilots that night. And long story short, they actually worked. It seemed like forever. I was flying the airplane, couldn't talk. We couldn't even talk to each other with the oxygen mask on at the time because of that type of airplane. No one ever thought about that. So you really couldn't communicate through like.
What kind of airplane was it?
It was a 727-100. It would be like a something in the Stone Age right now, which you really cannot communicate. So you could take it off, and scream at each other. Had these goggles on, you couldn't see. I had put my goggles on. I took them, I threw them off. I couldn't see. So okay, fine.
Were you scared?
Well, I was kind of concerned. I was worried about hitting the mountains because we didn't have approach plates or charts, and we were making an emergency approach into Charleston, West Virginia, which was not an airport at that time. That's not a place we went to. I had no charts for it. So told the controller, we trusted him, just give us information to set up for an ILS. He gave us a frequency, put in the front course, we dialed it in. We have we picked it up, gave us vectors to the place. Know there's mountains, have no idea how high they are. Just went to the altitudes, went in. Basically, couldn't get to the runway. Didn't see it. I went around. Someone said, "Well, I would have landed anyway." I would have landed anyway. You might have landed in freaking mountain. We weren't dead. So it just went around, and we ended up landing in Cincinnati, which seemed like the longest flight in the world.
But sure.
The smoke had abated. It was better. And it felt like we were flying for like another 5 hours. It was probably about 15 minutes.
Right.
But we landed, Got
And
out.
for anybody who doesn't understand what he was saying, the ILS is a way for an electrical signal given to the airplane so we can land. So they were giving out an electrical signal, and the pilots, we have to follow that electrical signal basically to land.
Right. And, it wasn't a Cat 3. It wasn't a highly capable airplane that did all the fancy 0 stuff. You basically had to see. There's nothing to see. I'm surrounded by mountains. In the history of aviation, it's mountains 1,000, airplanes 0.
Right. That's right.
It's 0. It's 0. They haven't won yet.
Just because you're talking about mountains, in the A6 Intruder, when I used to fly that, one of the scary missions were when it was a moonlit night, because we would fly under the mountains. We would go in a mountain range and fly below the mountains. When it was totally black, you weren't scared because you couldn't be scared of anything you can't see. But when there was a moon and you knew you were below the mountains, oh my God. And you know how I kept myself calm? I'm flying just right into the blackness of a basketball. You look up, you see mountaintops on either side. The only thing that kept me calm is I kept saying to myself, it won't hurt. It won't hurt. It won't hurt.
Yeah.
All right. Ready for this one, Paul?
Go.
Let's start off with the Wingman story, and we'll both have something to say about this Wingman. You go ahead, Paul.
Okay. Well, this Wingman is our good friend, Brandon, who runs the Mystic Digital Agency. He's our social media person and the brains behind all our social media outreach, because he knows stuff we don't know, we don't want to know, we'll never know. And we need him for, his guidance and advice. And he's done a great job for us so far. He's not expecting this. He had a birthday recently. We sang him happy birthday yesterday.
We sure did.
And, it didn't sound very good, but our spirit was there. And I hope he appreciates, that we appreciate him.
Yes, we pay him not a great deal of money, but we told him we're going to start off small. You're going to start off small, and then we're going to grow together. And first of all, he's a funky DJ in Chicago. And since it was his birthday, maybe we should buy him a bulletproof vest or something.
I'll be honest with you. When I heard about the Chicago stuff going on, I was thinking about it and say, are we going to have our meeting Wednesday? Because, you never know.
That's
you never know.
He's a great wingman. I mean, he really, if you're looking at us on YouTube, if you're listening to us on podcasts, whether Facebook, Instagram, whatever, that's our friend right there, Brendan, Mystic Agency. He's doing all that for us. For real, I don't want to be on Twitter. I love y'all. I love everybody out there, but I'm just not ready to tweet. I'm just not, that's not me.
Yeah, same here. I don't have a Twitter account. I know what the word is, and that's as far as it goes.
Remember, we were at the party here at the house, and we had younger people here, and they're Instagramming live that they're here or something. Like, I don't want people to know where I am.
Right.
I'm not sure about that.
You give out too much information, particularly someone's after you.
Love you, Paul. Thanks for doing the show.
Thanks for having me on. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. We'd appreciate it.
100%. We hope you enjoyed our show. We truly thank you for your time. It's our most valuable commodity. So we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. Dr. Paul Thompson, Drew Brown, we both say goodbye. See you guys later.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.